Hello viewers, welcome to our program on immigration and you. I am your immigration attorney Michael Phulwani, and once again we have with us attorney David Nachman. David, welcome.
Thank you, Michael. Nice to see you again.
As we can just repeat one more time that we have joined the forces together. David is now my partner, and we have a new law firm called NPZ Law Group, and the information at the end of the program you will see all the addresses where and how you can contact me and David. So let's start this program with some of the questions that have been raised, some interesting questions that we generally don't talk about every day or every program in the last few years. There is a question from somebody who said that I got my green card several years ago, and there's some garbage or something that was not very kosher in a way, and is always worried that can the government come back anytime and cancel my green card. We call it in law rescission of the status. Now, I just want to let you know what the law is. There is a statute of limitations that if you adjusted the status, let us say you were here illegally, legally, or eligible to 45I or marriage or whichever case it was, and you adjusted in the US, that means you did not get the immigrant visa from American consul abroad. You adjusted the status in the US, then there is a 5-year limitation that applies. So within the 5-year period, government can come back, reopen your case and cancel it. After 5 years, there is a statute of limitation will apply and they may not be able to do that. But as I said earlier, if a person got an immigrant visa for India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, wherever, and then entered here, they have no statute of limitation. If a fraud or something that comes to their attention, they can then revoke the status of that person. So this is an interesting information. Some people have always wondered, worried also, can they take away? And some people also in applying for a citizenship, like if they apply 5-6 years down the road, and if there's some problem, they can deny the citizenship application, but the question will be maybe a problem for them to rescind the LPR status.
Right. Interesting, Michael. With regard to that, what we tend to find is that when an individual may have had a problem with the green card processing, as you mentioned, rather than rescind, oftentimes what they'll do is they'll show up for naturalization and the officer will say, I'm sorry, I can't naturalize you, so you're going to have to just stay a green card holder and we're not going to touch the case at all.
I think logically, I think why is it so? Because he got a green card from the consul. And whatever he said, maybe right, wrong birth certificate, wrong something, whatever, he was able to do that. And then immigration services here, when he goes for citizenship or something, this comes to their attention. Normally, they don't get a dream on a case. He's applying for something, or maybe applying for naturalization, and they see that this guy here came as an unmarried person. Now he was married. And the immigration said, no, we're going to deny you, not only deny your citizenship, we may even take away your green card back. Right. So something like this come to their attention because he's coming from outside. And immigration never had a chance to go through all his details and facts. But the person who got a green card by adjustment, it was an immigration officer who went all through records, fingerprints, everything, and he was fully satisfied. And if there was a problem, then he should have denied the green card at the same time, rather than coming back after 7 years, 8 years, or 10 years and saying, oh, you obtained the green card by fraud or misrepresentation. So you should have seen all the papers, as long as I gave you correctly everything, and nobody's bothered. So that may be.
Well, there's one troubling thing that I'm just thinking about, Michael, as we're talking about this, and that is in the labor certification context, as you know, when they redid, they went from RIR, reduction in recruitment, to PERM. One of the big issues in PERM, where the world changed according to PERM, was that the Department of Labor has the right to revoke that labor certification at any time, anytime. So that means that, I guess, one way that they could go in through the back door is to revoke the labor certification as opposed to even bothering with the green card itself. So it's kind of an interesting way for the government to look at it. Yeah.
Let's talk about something. Recently, we saw an article and a regulation actually that the state of California passed an immigration law, and it's not something like a law being passed by the federal government. Actually, the immigration is one of the subjects that comes under the federal jurisdiction. States are not supposed to pass.
Should come under the federal jurisdiction.
Yeah, I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah,
but states being frustrated, there were issues. There are some people that were living illegally in the U.S. The question was whether they can school, whether they can go to college, and whether they can, get a driver license. California was very liberal. And they had some kind of sympathy with the students who came at a small age of 2, 3, 5, 4 years, went to school, went to go to college. They said they can go to college. And there was issue about tuition fees more or less. Residents of California, they treat them on par with the local residents. But in a way, it is, the DREAM Act bill that is introduced in the Congress is for students who went to school and came before the age of 16. That bill did not pass, but I think what California state did it, more or less making some changes and all that, they did pass the bill. So far, we are concerned. As far as our state is concerned, we're not going to deport them. We don't want to refuse them to study. And so this is the law that passed. So it is very, very good news. Other side of the coin, the two sides of the coin,
Well, there are other states, Michael, that have passed state laws dealing with DREAM Act. So I think Illinois was another one. Yeah, so Illinois and California.
And actually more states are thinking. But I'm saying let's talk about the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
Other side of the coin is Alabama.
Right.
Now Alabama is completely other side, and it passed strange laws which make it a felony for an illegal immigrant to conduct any business in the U.S., including getting a driver license or any business. Now, this was challenged because this was too much. These are really encroaching upon the federal law. So there have been a lot of litigation, and I think the recent case in the Federal Court of Appeals in California kind of held unconstitutional certain provisions of the law and let it go the other. So this is, as I say, two sides of the coin. Hopefully, someday the federal government is going to make a proper law, DREAM Act and CIR, whatever, and put an end to these states fighting. Basically, it's a political game. I mean, I hope you agree with me.
Of course, absolutely.
Even those Republicans and even many people who went with something like Alabama law and putting these brakes on illegal aliens, they know it. They know it. There are all these 11, 12 million illegal aliens. They're working hard, and basically it's not possible to deport them. And poor kids, so they have sympathy also. Politics. Politics. Yeah. Because they make it a big issue. About the vote. Very soon election is coming in, and of course there are a lot of people. We have two divisions here, ones those who support, ones who don't support. So the question of not getting into controversy at this time before the elections, let the elections pass, and then there may be a good chance if President Obama gets elected for 4 years and gets some more Democrats come in the Congress and Senate, there may be a good chance of going forward with the passage of the immigration legislation.
Yeah, I think the silver lining to the arguments in Alabama, Michael, are that at least it brings to the forefront the issue of immigration and requires it to be addressed, and also sort of shows when the states take hold and try to pass their own immigration laws, how those immigration laws often contravene the underlying federal laws that exist. And one of the things that I read an interesting article this morning about an analogy between what's going on in Alabama now on the immigration front compared to the discrimination that was going on in the 1960s, against Afro-Americans and blacks. And it was really kind of interesting that all of this sort of finds its percolation in Alabama. But the individual who wrote that article said that the federal government can still act through Title VII and through all of these other federal laws in the state of Alabama, which is exactly what they did when they went after, anti-discrimination in that state back in the 60s. So the federal government can act through the appropriate vehicles that they have to moderate, if you will, which you pointed out, the very strict nature of the law down there. So.
Okay, here's another interesting item. How many do students that are coming now are less from other countries to US or more? More. Many more. As initially I thought myself that the number has gone down probably because of the economy, because of other reasons. No. Here is the statistics. First of all, let me give you an example. A real case in India. This is a bright student, 93.5% score in the high school exam. He was denied admission into the top colleges of New Delhi, Delhi University and some other university. He was very, very desperate, and the parents wanted him to go to a good school for education. And desperately, then he applied to some of the colleges in the United States. He got a pile of acceptance from top universities: Cornell, Smith, Duke, Wesleyan, Barnard, University of Virginia, top of them. And some of them offered him a scholarship of something like $15,000 to $20,000 a year. So this is how it shows that even if such bright students in India are so frustrated that they try to look beyond India and coming to US. You know, there are 1.5 billion people living in India, 1.5 billion. And I would say, 1.5 billion, and many of them are under the age of 25. Now, the acceptance of students in India, Institute of Technology is a very prestigious institute, is 2% from a pool of 500,000, only 2%. Bright. So what do the other people do? Of course, they want to apply to the US universities, and there was a minister of education couple who said something recently. He went to Harvard himself. He said, yes, it is correct. And he says, it's a question of demand and supply. American universities are more than happy to accept the Indian students now. I don't know about demand and supply, but they should also be increasing that facilities and starting more institutes with the help of American universities, which they are doing that. The American representative of the American colleges and universities are going to India to collaborate with some of the people to start their own institution. The numbers, Indians are the second highest population of students in the US.
And what's the first?
I don't know.
Out of curiosity.
It could be China.
I think Chinese.
Chinese,
yeah,
yes.
That's what I...
Even in the population-wise, Chinese is number one, Indian is number two.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
No, once upon a time, there was a lot of denials of Section 214B. Many students used to go with I-20 from smaller colleges and small universities and the state, universities. And the consuls were not looking very good on that. They were looking more to Harvard, to Columbia, to any of the Ivy League,
they considered
Princeton.
them to be more bona fide.
So, yeah. But that was wrong. I remember I still have a copy of a memo of the Secretary of State that she issued a 2-page or 3-page memo saying that the students coming from any university should not be treated the same.
Exactly.
And as a matter of fact, those students mostly or sometimes are the hard-working people and they need more opportunities than the rich people that can go to Switzerland, UK, any place.
Of course.
So, and they told the consular officers also, don't look at the intention of the person long term. Don't use a crystal ball. That's what they were doing, consul. Look in the crystal ball and they say, I don't think you're going to come back. You're going to do your master, then you're going to do H1, then you're going to do a green card, which may be a normal pattern. Okay. But question here was a legal question. The consular discretion was supposed to be based upon the facts before them when they are applying for the visa. Is this student really going to go to US and join the college? If the answer is yes, issue him the visa. Don't look at his future. Even he doesn't know. He himself doesn't know about my future. I want to study and then I will see whether I want to come back, I want to stay, I want to do something. So what? He completes the master's degree, bachelor's degree in engineering, he gets a good job, H1. He's working in an American company, contributing a lot of his knowledge and experience and growing that company. Look at these companies that we have, right? Microsoft, your Apple, your,
Of course.
Gates.
All of our technology companies.
Yeah, how many Indians did they have? Well, thousands of them.
But the individuals who are at the high levels, the innovators, and the individuals who are leading the new project groups are all foreign nationals. These are, there are a handful of Americans, but it's clear from studies that are done by various think tanks in Washington that we're talking about foreign nationals being the leaders in technology.
And based upon that, there's also a pending bill in the Congress to give those students who do the master's degree here in the United States, have a separate category for them. That they can get the green card very quickly. And I believe that Republicans are strongly supporting that also because, they come from the companies and the corporates that are put in.
Well, I think it's a great ancillary to your point, Michael, and I think it's really important for our viewers to know that one of the largest businesses in the United States is foreign students. Having foreign students in the United States is critical to the institutions themselves, because they're paying full freight, whereas U.S. individuals who go to these institutions are often picked up on scholarships, and the foreign nationals are paying the scholarships for the U.S. workers.
Thank you very much, David, for these nice comments, and thank you, all of you, for watching the program. Please keep watching us every Sunday morning at 11:15 a.m. Thank you very much, and goodbye.